back to order. Again, this is August 22nd, and it's our regular scheduled meeting. We're at the regular agenda. We're going to discuss golf cart registration.
No, ma'am. We need to figure this out.
Yeah.
I mean, if I need to make a motion to sign the contract, I'll do that. Whatever needs to be done, we need to move forward.
We need no motions. This was just a discussion on the agenda. We need to move to our regular agenda.
No,
ma'am.
it's a contract that we've already accepted. Last meeting, we've already voted it in.
And you won't accept it,
If you don't want to sign it,
and that's.
All right, I'm going to have to call point of order. Y'all cross-talking. One of you can talk,
Oh,
one at a time.
go ahead.
It's called Robert's Rules of Order, and presiding officer needs to make sure that we have decorum. So that means one person talks at a time. We do not talk over each other or back and forth, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to our...
No. You don't talk, Richard, you want me to, I don't want to talk over you.
Sorry.
I haven't appointed either one of y'all to talk, to be
No,
honest with
ma'am,
you.
no, ma'am, I don't, you don't have to
Presiding
appoint
officer.
me. You don't have to appoint, I got just as much right as you.
Marty, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Hang on, sir.
yeah,
Trying to move to you.
just hang on a minute, please, thank you. This man sitting over here that we hired needs to know if he has a job. Clint, one more time, yes or no?
I think.
No, I don't want you to think.
Okay.
No,
Hey,
ma'am.
that's rude.
No, ma'am, it's not, ma'am, rude, you don't know what rude is right there, you hit me for rude. You don't hit me for rude.
Would you please come to order?
I'm in order. Clint,
I have not, I've asked you to come to order. That means you stop talking for
no,
a
ma'am,
minute.
you can't stop me talking, that's the problem here. You can't stop me from talking. I have just as much right to talk as you do.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Because
Clint.
you got the other
Please.
3 minutes, please, on the clock.
You can't do that to me either. I'm on the city council here, that's for the citizens. Thank you. Clint, one more time, let's get this over with.
I think that this city council voted 3-2 to accept the counteroffer that Mr. Hubbard offered the town, and they accepted. He has been here for 2 days. I think we have a valid contract, and that's it.
And if she don't sign the contract, for whatever reason she don't want to, this contract, I mean, that's what I'm trying to ask you. How do we get by this? How do we move on? If she don't sign it, is Mr.
I'll sign it when the investigation is
We don't-
over. I mean,
ma'am.
that's what I'm saying.
But the investigation that you unilaterally said that has to take place?
Okay, can Rich sign the
I haven't
contract?
unilaterally done anything other than saying I've asked for an investigation
At this
internal. and
particular
is
point,
it.
I almost don't think it matters whether the contract's signed or not. We
Well,
have a
he's
valid
been working for
contract.
2 days without it, so.
And I think he's gonna probably show up tomorrow, and continue on with his job.
Okay, can
So
we
pursuant to
continue
the
on?
valid contract that there is.
Can we continue on with our job here at the city council?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I
Thank
got
you.
one more
All
thing.
right.
Now, what you telling me is he can steady work, he's gonna get paid for do his job.
I think he has a valid contract, and if he shows up to the
Okay,
job, he should be
signed
getting.
valid contract.
Can I say something?
Yes,
Do I need to
please,
say? Okay.
please.
It's an employment agreement, and it is not signed, therefore it is not valid. And I think that's the end of the conversation
I
here.
think there was offer
Alright.
and acceptance.
But it
Okay,
is not signed.
I'm going to one more time, as presiding officer, please ask the table to stop cross-talking and let's move on with our agenda. Thank you. All right,
Can I
discussion.
finish over
He's
here?
ready for paint.
Are we going to move on with our agenda tonight?
Eventually, but we need to finish what we're doing first.
I am finished talking about
Of
this.
course you are, because you think you're gonna start an investigation without approval from the council.
I don't have to have approval, sir.
Yeah, you do.
No, sir, I sure don't.
Why don't you?
I have not asked anybody in here to cooperate. I've asked you to cooperate, but you don't have to cooperate with that.
You
That
just
is
sat here,
totally up to you.
you just sat here earlier and just said that I'm just a voting person on the council. That's
And
just
then
what
I
you
said,
said.
I'm a mayor too, and that's two different
A
positions.
ceremonial mayor, I
So-
agree 100%.
Please, may we come to order and move on with our agenda now?
No, I don't know why we're not voting on this investigation that you've thrown out here.
We can't make a motion to nothing, and Clint, I need one more time.
I
To
do.
stop this investigation, to stop this investigation. You can't no
It's not
thing.
gonna be stopped, so.
Okay, I mean, let's,
All right, anything else? Can we talk about golf carts? Marty is really biting at the bit there to talk to us about some golf carts.
This is really, I mean, I'm going around the table, this is a valid contract.
It's an agreement.
It's a legal contract.
Okay, no cross-talking, guys, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to move on. This is not productive.
Then we're not hiring an
We have
investigator to
just-
do anything.
We're
We're not
not
bringing
hiring
it-
anybody to do anything.
we're not bringing
getting
an
more of a
investigator.
pro bono, it's not costing
You're
you a
not
dime.
taking your pro bono person and bring him in here to
Yep,
investigate.
absolutely. So,
Absolutely what?
absolutely, this person will be coming in and
So you're taking that authority by yourself?
I,
As a
by the
mayor?
city charter, yes, sir.
You're breaking the city
Sure am.
charter.
No, sir, I am going by city
Now
charter.
you're-
I've already, that's not my group, these are our citizens, and if you don't want to be part of our citizens, I'm sorry.
That goes both ways, dear.
Yeah,
Not all
excellent.
the citizens.
All of you are
Majority.
citizens.
No.
Now, I'm gonna, all of y'all are citizens, so listen. I am going to move forward with this, or we can adjourn. That's our choice.
So we adjourn.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? No second? All right, let's move forward. Okay.
We need
So
to
Marty,
stay
would
on
you
until
like
we
to
get
come up
done
for
with it.
golf carts?
You just
We're
keep
not-
talking around it, man.
Sir, I am the presiding officer here. I am moving on with this. If you do not want to move on with this, you can step out of the meeting,
Oh, I
okay?
can.
Absolutely. Because I'm moving on.
Why don't you step out and I'll sign the contract?
You do whatever you want with that contract. I'm moving on. Marty,
can he
you're
sign
up.
the contract, Mr. Miller?
No, not on mine, no. I'm perfectly capable.
But
Come on,
you're
Marty.
jeopardizing the city for a loss.
All right. Last time. If y'all crosstalk one more time, I'm gonna ask if we can actually remove somebody so we can actually get on with business, sir.
You can't remove us, he can remove them.
Oh.
Ask the man in green
You have to have a vote of the council
to remove
a
it.
council member.
That is absolutely the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard, and I have actually seen y'all take them out on Al's word. So,
Citizens.
okay.
Council members.
Citizens, not. Well, I've seen actually other cities that
Citizens.
have them taken out, but that's okay, this is all good. I have no problem with this. I am telling you, we are moving on or we're adjourning as presiding officer. So you make your decision right now. If you want to adjourn, I'll need a motion for adjourn. If I don't hear a motion for adjourn in a second, we're going to move on to our golf carts. Okay, let's move on to golf carts one more time. Marty, come on. Hurry! Or anything else can stand. Okay. Thank you, sir, for coming up, talking to us about golf carts.
Yeah, after a couple of meetings ago, we had talked about bringing back the registration process for golf carts. We drafted some stuff in here and a new application and stuff like that to, get it back online. And y'all saw it in the packages, you've had a chance to read over it, any questions on it or anything?
I do actually have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
What about 15th Street? Are we not going to be allowed down 15th
Well,
Street
that was
anymore?
brought up today, but there's also an ordinance that's 689 that goes over that and takes care of operating on any street in the city of Mexico Beach except for Highway 98.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question on this.
I mean,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
To me, it's like we're defining golf carts as one thing, the vehicle that travels 20 miles or less, and the low-speed vehicles is 25 or more. But they have different.
25 or less.
25, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not to exceed
They
25.
can't operate over 25 miles an hour, but they can operate on a roadway that's 35 miles an hour or less.
So the rules are different
Yes,
then?
ma'am.
Okay. So looking at the registration form, should there be two different registration forms?
There's no registration for an LSV. It already has a Florida State tag on it, insurance, they're paying for it.
So the golf cart doesn't need, it needs liability, but not,
Golf cart doesn't need liability unless the city requires
okay.
it.
Because under this golf cart registration form, it says, advised to obtain liability insurance for the cart.
I haven't read that in any of the ordinance or anything that is required as a process for it and everything. But I think to start off with, the form was a little misconstrued on the low-speed vehicle and the golf cart, and there was a little bit of combination, but we're gonna get all that worked out before we come up with the final draft to sign off on and everything else.
So a low-speed vehicle has to have liability insurance plus personal injury insurance?
I think it's just PIP. It's just like the motorcycle has to have $10,000. But it's registered through the state, regulated through the state. We know whose tag it is, it belongs to them, just like a regular vehicle. They have to have seat belts, they have to use them, babies have to be in car seats, they can't be in laps on Highway 98 and everything else, so, yeah.
So when you do the stickers, will there be two different types of stickers?
No. No, if it's got an if it's an LSV and it has a Florida State
Okay,
tag on
okay, gotcha.
it, it doesn't need a registration for the city.
Right.
It's state registered.
Okay. So if it's a license plate, they don't have to have stickers.
Like driving a
Just-
car down the road.
Yep, okay. That's what I thought.
Marty, under the, Lieutenant, under the, please read carefully. It does say, I have been advised to obtain liability insurance for the car. So you're good. Ms. Hamilton's right, you might want to look at that, because it says golf cart and low-speed vehicle.
Okay, yeah, we work on that and get all of it back into par before we get this. This was a discussion type deal for questions and answers and stuff to make sure if y'all had any questions, y'all could have them out here and we take care of them and get it in the final draft before we took care of them.
Mayor, can I say one thing?
Sure.
Ordinance 689 repealed, or basically did away with Mexico Beach registering golf carts. Thus, anything that we do, we're gonna need to do a new ordinance. I just want to make sure that was clear. And we can,
We can take
and,
that.
and I think there's been, if you look back, there's been about 4 or 5 ordinances, I think, regarding this. I think it's gotten really confusing. I think we should write a brand new ordinance dealing with this and repeal all the other ones, so it's not so confusing, and we have a new thing that outlines all the rules.
Including all the fines and registration fee and
Because in order-
everything else involved with it.
In order to find somebody, it has to be by ordinance.
Great. Okay. Anything else?
Anything else?
I'm going to open it to the public, and they may have questions for you, Marty. Yes, ma'am.
Peace Mountain Director with you. Lisa Logan, 402 Maryland. I have 3 questions. The first is, can't read my writing. There are other vehicles besides low-speed vehicles and golf carts that are running around and have been running around in my neighborhood. What about those? Because they're supposed to be illegal.
Which kind of?
The John Deere Gators and,
No, if we find them, we will take care of that.
okay, there's a whole lot.
It has to be a golf cart that's meant for a golf course, as a sporting event or whatever, not a utility vehicle or anything like that, it's a golf cart.
A lot of them are being trailered in over in my neck of the woods.
Yeah,
Okay.
We find them, we get them.
As of July the 1st, didn't the state legislature raise the legal driving age of golf carts from 16 to 18? October 1st?
October 1st.
Okay, don't
Yeah.
forget that because 16 year
Well, the city ordinance covers that, because you
Okay.
have to be 16 years or older with a valid license to operate a golf cart,
Okay,
by ordinance.
okay.
Yeah,
And then, once again, I'm going to ask, the identifying sticker that's supposed to go on these, would you please make those as large as the triangle sign that's on the back? The reason being, when we see the illegal activity with these golf carts that's going on, and it happens all the time, we can then identify that number. The sticker that we've used before, we can't read it.
So
I'm
maybe a
I'm
3x3
talking at least,
with a big number
I'm
on it?
talking this,
Yeah, City of
This
St. City of
size
St.
at
Joe
least.
is about, was it 5 by
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
About yay big.
That seems reasonable.
make it
That's-
Make it
You don't have
readable,
your
please.
numbers large.
Okay?
Can you see those numbers, Marty, can you see those numbers from?
Oh, yeah, they'd be
Oh,
reflected.
that's yours.
Can you see, St. Joe, can you see their numbers from?
Oh, yeah,
a
they're
distance?
reflective, you can see them at night or daytime and everything, so yes.
Very good, thank you. Any other citizens?
Rob Trees, Colorado Drive. Hope I'm not wasting my time here even talking about this because it doesn't seem like anything got done for the last 2 months. And that's probably why Mr. Lindeman is no longer doing what he's doing. I hope you guys take care of something and don't let them things go down the wayside with his hard work he's put in. Anyway, on golf carts. So it seems everybody seems to be a little confused. I got an LSV golf cart. It had to go. They had to take the golf cart. It has to have a DOT windshield. It has to have every light that a car has, blinkers, the whole 9 yards. It had to be weighed. They had to change the gear ratio. It had to be certified to go between 20 and 25. Then they had to take it to the DMV, which inspected it, made sure it had seat belts, everything there. They put a VIN on it. Then I had to go down, get a license plate, and get insurance. My insurance cost me about $600 a year for it because I got full coverage on it. It's not cheap. Progressive was so ridiculous, it was more than my big dually truck. So I stayed where I was. But anyway, the point is, in your one thing here, you had that LSVs would require a sticker too, which is stupid because we got a license plate. It's already on there, as the lieutenant said. The thing that would, I wrote everybody here an email, the thing that would behoove you is the fact that golf carts are not allowed on any highway. It is up to the city to let them ride on the streets. You can stop golf carts right now, tomorrow, boom, done. You just made everybody remove everything from the city right away because you can't have a little pole like this, liability, somebody might hit it and sue the damn city. You're allowing golf carts to ride on this highway. I don't understand why you do not make them get a liability policy. It's cheap as could be. It's only like $100 a year for a golf cart. It's ridiculously cheap because a golf cart's different than an LSV. You need to put that in your ordinance to get liability. It's going to change October 1st. 16 years old, driver's license to go. You're going to tell me a 16-year-old kid blasting around here, you know what goes on the weekends and 3-day weekends down here, you should make the owner of that golf cart get a liability policy. It's cheap. It protects the city, and it might make some of the crap go away that's been going on.
Isn't it actually 15 years old with a learner's permit to operate with another person on it? Or 16 years old with a valid license? Or 18 years old
Give no license.
with a valid state ID?
So I mean, that's coming up there, and to me, it would behoove the city to do that. What's the big deal? If you got to come down and get a sticker, show them your insurance card, just like you do with a damn car. I got to do it every year for my golf cart, and it's only $100. It's cheap. It's probably even cheaper than that. Something to consider.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
So, okay, liability insurance on golf carts. So how does liability insurance on golf carts, would that protect the city or just protect that person if they hit something, or
It's not gonna,
It's not gonna do
it's not gonna protect the city.
like if they run over something or stop sign, we have to replace? I don't know.
Well, it protect the city in that regard, there'd be some insurance that if they have property damage.
But would we catch them? Yeah, so I don't know about the insurance. Yes, sir, come on up, sorry.
I think we can require whatever you want it to require, to allow them to drive.
John Harrell, 43 First Street. Why are we registering the cars?
You're registering the carts for identification purposes,
For what reason?
for reasons, for violations in the city and stuff like that. We also have people with homes that they rent. They also rent the golf carts with the homes.
Right.
And they drive them down and park in places they're not supposed to park, and they're operating in places they shouldn't ought to be operating, and stuff like that. But if we find them over there, we have no way of finding out who that cart is, whose it belongs to, who we can write a city citation to, or anything like that. It's real hard trying to, keep up with it.
Well, I mean, if the parks are where they're not to be,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yes, sir.
Could we just put a boot on them? and then they gotta come to you, and then we can follow. Without, the reason I mentioned that, I let's do some other reason. Us citizens are now gonna have to register our carts, we're gonna have to pay a fee. It just seems like it's nickel and diming us. And before you know it, because if I'm not mistaken, last year, the former council and the former city administrator was to make this town a golf cart community. And that's one reason we lowered the speed limits in town, wasn't it? To 20 miles? No? Okay.
No.
That was
City
my-
can make that.
No, I know that, but I thought it was for the purpose of becoming a golf cart community.
I was trying to make
So
sure.
now we're trying to make it a golf cart community, but now we're gonna charge people to have a golf cart, is what I'm saying. If we could put a boot on somebody, if they're parked on 98 with no license plate, charge them $75, I think that will send a message. But if you're saying there's other reasons, I just want to know what they were. I mean,
It's not my
I would-
ordinance, sir. They gave it to me to bring
Who
up
gave
for
it to you?
discussion. For discussion.
Who gave it? The council? Okay.
Yeah.
So council, that's about my question, why are we doing this
Let me say
as
this.
a citizen?
I can logically understand this. I've seen golf carts whizzing down the street, and if I'd been able to see a number, I could call him and say, hey, these people just whiz down the street, you know.
Okay, but are you able to do something if you don't
Yeah.
witness that?
Well, we get to find out who it is. We can actually go talk to them and everything else.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not always the person that actually owns the golf cart.
No, I know that.
They have kids, they have grandkids, and those little kids get out and riding around and everything.
Right, I
else.
understand
We
that.
have no idea who he is.
I thought the purpose was because people are illegally parking, like they're
It's
parking on
not just
98.
illegally.
Okay, that's the question.
And it gives us a chance to be able to see these people. You know, it's not a ticket for everything you do around here.
Right.
It could be very expensive around here.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we could write tickets for just about everything.
me all the time.
But if we can.
We talked about that.
If we can make contact with people.
That was my question.
We can talk, it's like holes on the beach in class. Buddy, we can write tickets for that all day long.
You need help?
Well, golf carts in the same ring.
Well, I'm just saying, if they were parked on 98, then we could put a boot on them.
If it's parked on 98, we can actually tow them.
But that's expensive for us.
John, I'll buy your sticker, buddy, if you need me to. I'm playing.
That was my question, if there was
Yeah.
other violations in your words, that why we have to do this.
Is it a one-time fee for identification?
Yeah, well, it's
It's
yearly,
gonna be yearly.
yearly, $25 a
It's like
year.
death and taxes, it's gonna keep coming.
$25 a year.
Identification
Okay.
doesn't change.
You've answered my question,
Thank you.
I've got a comment. When we do narrow this all down, I'd like to see it posted somewhere where we can see it. We are a golf cart community. I don't know if people realize it or not, but we really are. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. The problem comes, and I had my street legal golf cart for a decade. I've been stopped 38 times by the police. So it's probably a record. Because like I said, I was the first, not Marty. I was the first one or the second one that got it, so I was getting popped right and left. The problem is we've got people that come down, let me put this nicely, from other states, and their thing is, I can do this in this state, I can do this in that state. So I would kind of like, because I get stopped all the time and asked about it, to be able to say, well, just go up here and read. There's the sign. There's the rules. I don't know if maybe it could be at one of the parks or something. But we definitely need something. We have got children driving golf carts. I walk every night. They have no clue what a stop sign means. A four-way stop, they don't know, so they just go through it. We really need something for identification, because I've had to call Marty before and say, there's a cart on Mexico Beach, they have no lights, they have 6 teenagers in it. It's time, we need something before somebody gets hurt. But once we do all this registration bit, then we need it where you can say, go down and look at the park, or go up here at the city, and there's the rules. I know the legal people that are going to get their registrations, that's not the ones we're worried about. It's the ones that just keep coming down, they're not going to get registered. And these guys need something to be able to back up and say, we're going to make you pay if you can't follow our rules. But yeah, I'd like to see the rules posted somewhere where people can just go and look at it, because we are a golf cart community. They're not going anywhere, they just keep coming.
We discussed before, like, people over in Gulf County come over here. I don't know that we can enforce that. I mean,
It's your city ordinance, man, you know.
I mean, can
Operating
you
on the
ask
streets
them
of
to,
Mexico Beach, it should fall
how
under.
are we gonna be able to identify, or let them, how are we gonna be able to let them know that they have to have these stickers that they're gonna be riding over here?
Be the same way as we've been doing the Mexico Beach people. We wrote a bunch of warning citations. I've got a whole folder in there full of warning citations. It could have been tickets.
If you,
But we, education and,
precedence.
you know, set a precedence, and then
Yeah.
after you write a few tickets, sometimes people will get the word out. It don't take long, like dogs on the beach. It's
Yeah.
been a whole lot better for a while now.
yeah, that's true.
But we've also addressed the UTVs, ATVs and stuff like that with out-of-state tags and stuff like that. But as far as Florida statute is, they're not covered in the state of Florida. They're legal where they come from.
Yes, sir.
Hi, John Albaugh from 209 Virginia Drive. Completely support the ordinance. I question the need to charge a citizen. I think that we can do this for citizens with a valid ID or a valid 2 forms of bills or whatever that says they have a residency here in Mexico Beach. We can do it for free. I think that would be better for the citizens that live here. I've been around the military my entire life. We've been registering vehicles at zero charge. So it's not that onerous of a task. So I don't see and the stickers don't cost that much either. So I don't see the need for the $15 fee. I know it's nickel and diming, but I don't see that if you're a valid citizen.
25.
Oh, yeah, it's even worse, 25, yeah. So that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, that
So
covers
don't we
costs.
have something?
It covers costs of inspection. You
Yeah.
gotta come down there, your cart has to be inspected to make sure it has everything. And like the ordinance also says, during low light situations, raining, foggy and stuff like that, it has to have a windshield, headlights and things like that. So you gotta have that. If you're gonna operate during, you know, rain or snow, I mean, yeah, snow.
I'd like to say that one.
Maybe it's snowing in California.
Yeah.
But, it's to cover that inspection fee. You know, take somebody to go outside, to go out there and inspect the car, get the information, enter it in a computer and everything else. It's not my deal, but, you know, I can't explain it all day long. It takes money to do stuff like this. You have to pay somebody to do it, because otherwise they're doing their job and another job on top of it. Just saying. Yes.
LT, I just had a text message, somebody's obviously listening in, it doesn't matter who it is, but they said, the city allowing golf carts on US 98 would prove to be catastrophic. My understanding is, and I believe you have explained it, you just may have missed it, that it will only be LSVs that are allowed on 98, that no golf carts allowed anywhere near 98. That is a state law
That's
that
state
we
law.
as a city, even if we wanted to, could never change.
They can't cross the highway without that.
That was my answer to him. I just wanted to double check I wasn't wrong and to maybe clarify that.
The signs that we have on the outskirts of towns are low-speed vehicles. They maybe cut the golf bag off the back of it just so it wasn't a golf cart. But it's a low-speed vehicle. It's registered by the state. It can operate on the roadway 35 mile an hour or less. It's got everything that a regular car has. It gets the same tickets as a car gets. It's the same thing. But it can't go over 35 or 25 miles an hour speed.
Which is stupid.
Which
It should be 30,
It
35.
should be 30, 35, but then you also can't modify it to go faster.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's,
Well, you'll be getting a ticket.
You'll be getting a ticket.
All right, any other public?
I have one more
Discussion?
question.
Yes, ma'am.
I think there's still some confusion about being able to drive at night, like none of them should be able to ride at night, right?
LSVs can drive at night. They have lights, they have blinkers, they have everything that they're
And they
supposed
could
to
be on
have.
Highway 98 at
They
night.
go Highway 98 at night. The golf cart, man, no bueno. After dark, you got to, it's taking home before dark.
So is that a state law or is that
Yes.
okay,
And it's also in your ordinance too.
yeah. But I just wondered, I mean, we have opportunity to put an ordinance out there. I had been asked before by residents, if I go over to my friend's house and I don't get home by dark,
Well, we have some discussions and pull up the laws and make sure we got everything we can. And if we can, you know, put it for an ordinance and bring it before y'all, we can do that too.
if they have lights and stuff, they can't even on a golf cart, if they have lights and blinkers and all that, they can't drive at night, is that
Regular,
correct?
regular golf cart, no. LSV, yes, because it's registered with the state and
Gotcha.
has a motor vehicle with all the proper safety equipment.
Gotcha. Anybody, any other public comments, discussion? Okay, I'll close the public discussion, move it to the table. Ms. Linda, you want to start?
I'm just still concerned that, you know, maybe these people that are renting houses, do they really understand the difference between a basic golf cart and the low-speed vehicle? Like, do they understand that?
They should, but also with the registration and everything, you're gonna get the rules of the road and everything else and be able, because there's a lot of people here from out of state that have actually came and registered their golf carts in Florida instead of being in golf carts registered in Georgia. You know, we've got Georgia state law that, you know, we keep on hand to be able to fact check some of the, I didn't know that, I'm not from around here.
Yeah.
So they have the same registration type deal up there with tags and everything else. There's some communities up there that go everywhere with golf carts. They have actual golf cart paths through cities and things like that. But, you know, it's LSV and a golf cart are two different things. And if, you know, anybody's got any questions, we answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mr. Smith?
How you do?
Hey,
If we're gonna rewrite the ordinance, and then we're gonna throw in there 15th Street somewhere along the line, because that's another thing, in our ordinance, see if we can't, we need to throw that, make sure we can treat everybody equal. If it's doing right 15th Street with a triangle, we can do it. And, that's all we're gonna do, just write the ordinance.
put it all in one ordinance, but, you know, like I said, they had the first ordinance, the second ordinance repealed that one and actually said that you can operate on 15th Street with a triangle.
We'll try.
So get it all put into one, repeal everything else, and have a fresh start on all of this.
Only thing for me is I'd be curious to know the rest of the council's opinion on owners or residents having to pay or treating them like the boat ramp where they're exempt. I just want to know, I'm open either way. I'd like to hear a discussion of what you guys think.
I was gonna ask, wasn't there something that we did?
Boat ramp.
So it's the boat ramp, they don't have to pay?
At all. Decide.
That's it.
Yeah, my side of it is we did put some money in the budget as we put a number on this. So I think that we ought to, if it's for identification, I really think it ought to be a one-time fee. Get the excuse me, because there is a cost to do it. So we've covered the cost of $25, have a one-time fee, they'll be identified, and that's it.
So like, what about non-residents? Do they renew annually then? Just the people that live here would pay a one-time fee? Is that what you're?
I would just say anybody coming into town, anything, I mean, our citizens, everything, just pay a one-time fee.
And then if you get a new one, then you gotta get another one-time fee?
Correct.
Okay.
We're gonna have the same, excuse me,
I was pointing you out.
Miss Linda, I ain't getting ahead of you.
No,
Okay.
Well, if there's money in the budget that would help with that, you know, because Marty is concerned about the expenses on the staff, extra hours and stuff.
and that's where the money that is collected for the sticker that's
Yeah.
what's in the budget, yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's what's considered.
Yeah, I might have stated
So
that
it's
wrong.
not there yet until we collect that money. Okay, got it.
The $25 is not that bad now, I mean, really. I mean, everything's bad if you charge it, but, and I know the city, but the boat ramps is a little bit different now. But you're backing in there and then having a golf cart running all around town. And I think we need to do it every year, because they're gonna change every year. People change. I don't think the $25 hurt the citizens, in my opinion. I might get my house toilet paper tonight. But I don't think, I think we ought, I like the $25, and I think it ought to be done every year annual. And write new orders.
So,
It's not a revenue thing, so we don't need it every year, it's not a thing that we need revenue. It's a thing that we need to cover the cost for what we do, and that's why I've suggested 1 year.
go ahead.
I was the clerk here when we got rid of the ordinance, so I know you were gonna point that out, I see your
Your
smile.
signature on it.
Yeah. I didn't like it because I thought it was a waste of time for the amount of money it made the city, and that's why I wanted to get rid of it. Now, taking the money side of it and actually being able to know who it is and a registration of it, maybe it is a good idea that we bring it back. But that's why I'm curious what the council's opinion was on charging that fee to residents.
And then there's many more golf carts out there now than probably
Yeah.
that period of time you're talking
If I could
about.
make one more comment, the other thing is you might want to look at is like vehicles. People sell them and trade them all the time. So it might not belong to that person next year.
Yeah.
That would be a point on registering every year. Even if you reduce the registration fee or whatever, it's not me that's, just giving you a suggestion, looking at it, because, there's people running around all over Bay County with Bay County Sheriff stars on the back of it, and they ain't a part of the office. So it changes every year. Our carts get traded, bought, sold, and everything else.
The public is already.
Can I add one thing to what he's
Are
saying?
y'all okay with him? Okay, yes, sir. Come on now.
You're talking about the fee and going back reading, I know why you did away with it, because somebody had to come out and inspect everything. Why would you even have to inspect the golf cart? Because if it gets stopped and you give them, they come down and get the registration, charge them $10, $10 a year. Get the sticker, here's your sticker, here's the rules, this is what you gotta do. If they get stopped for something and they're driving, they don't have the lights, they don't have anything else, the deputy's gonna look at that. They'll write them the tickets for that. There's no reason why somebody has to waste their time to come out and look at a golf cart, make sure the lights work, do this, do that. Just come up here, like I come up and get my sticker for the boat ramp, and you come up here and you go, here you go, here's where I live, here's my money, I want a sticker, and you give them the sticker and the rules, and now, if they don't follow it, they're screwed when they see the deputy. Simple. Make it easy. $10 a year, and they keep it registered every year, it ain't a big deal.
I think it leads to a little confusion there, because the person's gonna go, I went in, I went and got a decal, and now I'm driving on the road, and you said I could, because I got the decal. I think it would lead to a little confusion there.
Go over the rules with them, they sign off, you understand all the rules is down here and everything. But, like I said, on the part where it's under inclement weather, stuff raining or fog or anything like that, because it gets foggy around here, you can't see the stop signs. And they've got to have the safety equipment and everything to go with it. If they didn't have it on there before they registered, why are they gonna put it on there afterwards? They're not gonna go home and change it out. That's something y'all think about.
Any other
If it's an
comments?
annual inspection, that gives you more opportunity for educating the public,
Yeah.
or reminding them.
Changes in the
one time.
rules, changes in the ordinance and everything else.
So what about inspections? Is that something?
No inspection.
Where y'all are, okay, I was confused because I hadn't heard that there were any inspections. This is-
Code enforcement used to go out and inspect it every time you get a permit. It was
Mr. Hubbard's done that before.
Okay. Anything else?
We're gonna call it up.
You want to, do we want to make a motion?
I think, do we need to make a motion, or do we
just
just bring us
need-
an ordinance?
You just need to give
We'll
us
just get
direction as
ordinance.
to what you want
Well,
us
it's
to
on
do.
here, the motion.
Yeah.
Well, we can get a motion to get an ordinance, how's that?
So moved.
So, write the ordinance and bring it back to the city council for review.
Well, what changes is,
Oh.
do you want $25? Do you want, the spines are 50, 75, 150,
We need to
and then I
make a
guess after
motion.
that's 500, and they take the sticker away.
I can't make a motion. If somebody wants to make a motion of how this should be looked, we will.
I could write it with options in it, and you
Yeah.
guys could decide when the ordinance comes back in front of you.
And we can correct it then and before we approve it for the last time. Does that work? All right, works for me. All right, works for Mr. Jerry, so I think we can move on. Okay, so next is ordinance 811, variances, first reading. And Carmen's not here, but Aurora's going to address this.
Good evening. I'm Laura Mills-Gutcher, and I'm with the Planning Collaborative, and I'm here on behalf of Carly tonight. She couldn't be here, unfortunately. But this is an ordinance to put language into the Land Development Code regarding how the variance process moves forward and what the criteria is for eligibility to apply for a variance. This is language, and the criteria that we're looking at is pretty common throughout the state of Florida especially for the standards of review that you see in Part D on the second page of the excerpt. This whole section to be added into section 7.0402 will help you when you have people who are looking for a variance, which is usually due to a hardship on a piece of property. So that if there's something unusual about that piece of property, or there's something that's unusual about the zoning that applies to that piece of property, they can apply for a hardship relief. And it usually has to do with the bulk regulations that are adopted in the land development regulations. So it could be setbacks, it could be impervious surface, those kinds of development type restrictions that you see. As you can understand, what recently happened here in Mexico Beach with the variance issue earlier this year, this will help provide certainty not only for you, but for the applicant as they're coming forward, as they read through the code and understand what their limitations and what their availability is to apply for the variance and how that process moves forward. So if you want to go through specifically what it says, we can do that, but that's just the general overview on what the language states.
So on the language, the only thing you've changed is you've moved that to, let's see, on the 7.04, change that to a hardship cover procedures and appealing decisions.
So everything underlined is in brand new language. You don't have any variance language right now, so it's creating a section 7.04.82, which deals with the variance and has an A, B, C, D, E, F. And so yes, I'm changing the title, so the procedure for appealing decisions would be stricken and hardship relief would be added to capture both parts of that section, which the first part is appeals and then the second part would be this variance language.
So I'm going to open up the floor, Ms. Lisa.
Lisa Logan, Maryland. I have some extreme concerns on this. As you know, variances have been somewhat sacred cows in Mexico Beach for a long time. My three concerns are, why would we bring circuit court into this? This is new language. Any appeal to a variance decision by the city council shall be made in circuit court. The second one is, why make the new wording, which in my opinion is way more confusing? And the third question is, where are the penalties for the contractors and EPCI when they ignore the regulations? The circuit court, we have always had the city council as the final decision for variances. We've done this for 30 years. The previous city attorneys did not bring circuit court into it. I do not understand why we would give that power to circuit court instead of keeping it in the city, because circuit court could very well overturn the city's decision, and that takes it out of our hands. The second thing is the new wording. I put the current 6 regulations for variance side by side with the new 6 regulations. It only took 117 words to describe the current 6. It took 281 words to describe the new ones. I'm pretty good with words. I was so confused reading the new 6 that it makes no sense to me why we would confuse citizens and give everybody a different opportunity for a different interpretation. What we have right now is very concise, very clear, very succinct. There's no gray area. In my opinion, the 6 new wording regulations are extremely gray and open to total different interpretations by everybody who comes along. That is not the best for the citizens or the city. And then for 2 years, the council has said, every time we've had a contractor, an EPCI come up and say, oops, we made a mistake, let's give us a variance. You've said, where are the penalties for the contractors and EPCI who make these mistakes? They're still not in this ordinance. What is the point of having anything changed about the ordinance for variance if you don't have those penalties in place? So I think that you are way ahead of yourselves on this. I do not think that this is prepared at all for a first reading, and I think that you need to stop the process right now and take these things into consideration and figure out why we're giving away what control we have and why we're not putting something in writing to penalize the contractors in EPCI when they screw up. Thank you.
May I address those questions, those points? First of all, you don't have control, and appeal goes to circuit court. That's a Florida standard. There's no option there.
If someone disagrees with us, they can always take it to a circuit court and appeal, I would say.
Yes, so any appeal to any decision you make, that's the next step. It goes to circuit court. There was a point made about the existing language. According to the clerk's office, there is no existing language. We can't find an ordinance that speaks to adoption of variance language. There was an application that could have been the county's application, and the names were changed into Mexico Beach. That's the assumption I'm making, because we can't find an ordinance that actually had this language or anything that referred to a variance in it. So what she's comparing to, I think, is the application, the points in the application, and not necessarily something that was prior adopted. The other point she made was regarding the technicality of the document, the legality of the document. As someone who is also an expert witness, and I testify before planning boards, board of adjustments, city councils, county commissions, circuit court, I do circuit court and the administrative hearing over at the state level. You need to have specific language. You really do, because if you have room for interpretation, that's how the lawsuits get brought forward. If there's an interpretation, it could be this way, and an interpretation, it could be another way. That's how the lawsuits are coming, and you want to have certainty when you have policy in your comprehensive plan and regulation in your land development code.
Okay, any other citizens?
Rob Priest, Colorado, and also the Planning and Zoning Board. We discussed this at length at the Planning and Zoning Board, and like Lisa brought up, the language, we looked at that, and she explained, this is the legal version of it, to hold it. I mean, there was a big deal that happened on Canal Street, and since 2017, we've had 4 incidents that have happened over and over and over. And the discussion was, it was approved unanimously by the board to bring it here, along with the recommendation of the city council to come up with fines to enforce things. And just a couple of weeks ago, I went to the building department and I asked them, I said, hey, so what do you do now to get these measurements done to make sure this is here and that's there, and the builder is doing what he's supposed to do? Well, it's up to the builder. When we do our inspections, if that wasn't done right, then I said, then what? Then nothing. Nothing's still been done. There's nothing in place that I am aware of, and I asked the building department, when are you going to start doing this? Sure, you said 2 months ago at one of these council meetings that all that was taken care of. And it hasn't been taken.
Bo Creel.
Well, I went in there and I talked, and that's what came back again, and it's the same thing, and that's why something needs to be done with these fines. It needs to be right in there. I mean, when they're building, and like I just explained we talked about this, and we talked about it here at the council meeting, we're not building 1,000 houses. I mean, you can drive this city in a damn hour. You can drive around and count the houses being built, and you can look and see that, oh, foundation's poured. We need to go out and measure it, make sure it's where it's supposed to be. What is the big deal to get that done? I don't understand it. And that's what's been causing this whole giant problem. And it's not going to stop until our attorney draws something up and you guys approve it to start hitting fines. Because it was even mentioned at the Canal Street, the guy said nobody does that. None of the builders are doing that. Well, because nothing happens to it, it's a joke.
The fines would be in a different ordinance, not in this variance.
Well, yeah, it's separate for the.
It'd be a
for the building.
separate.
Yeah. But I mean, you have to agree with that. It's the only way you're going to stop it. It's never going to stop unless you put something with some teeth in it that's going to do something, then the word will get out.
If we would have had this in place before the last
We would have
he would have had to tear it down.
Oh yeah, that house would have been torn
You would have
down.
to move it. there wouldn't been no, it wouldn't work under this.
No, this would have solved the whole problem right there. And that's the legal language, and that's what has to be in there to make this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Further citizens' comments? I'll close the public comments and we'll move to the table. Mr. McCahill, it's been brought up several times just during this conversation about Canal Parkway.
I don't have that, I'm not prepared to give you the final answer on that tonight.
Okay, is this going to impact that?
No, the question on there is whether the plat, the original plat,
Okay,
takes precedent over our land development regulations.
it does, or you're stating, what, I'm sorry, say again.
The question there is whether the original plat takes precedent over our land use regulations.
Right, okay. And this has been several weeks, so I'm continuously getting questions about
I
it.
understand that there's someone came in with a request based on that, and I will get the building department and the clerk's office the answer to that by the end of business tomorrow, if we need to.
I need to start answering this. Okay. All right, we're at the table, Ms.
Well, I feel like the Planning and Zoning Committee does put a lot of time and effort and knowledge into their research, and, you know, what Clint just said, if this was in place over the Canal Parkway incident, you know, that he would have had to tear the house down. So we need something to back that up, and we need fines.
This is the variance procedure.
Yeah, this is the
We would need to
variance.
do
We'll
a whole
talk about-
different thing about fines.
I would like to
Yeah.
talk about that before we finish.
This makes us legal here, but really what you're doing, we didn't have nothing. I mean,
Correct.
nothing. And now we have something it's got a little, teeth in the bite in the teeth. So we needed this. This is what we need. So I think this is what we need to hold down.
Okay.
For me, I have a question on, this might not be the appropriate place to put it, but I think we've all received the emails on notice requirements. And I think our notice requirements are pretty loose. It says adjacent property or 50 feet for this, but it's not really clear of who gets notified of a variance. Does that go in this, or is that a different
I
ordinance?
agree with you. Actually, the section right before this, section 0401, where it says appeals, I didn't include that language that's in your code, but that does talk about the notice requirement, and you do have a requirement to place notice to, it's called affected.
Who's affected?
Exactly, so you need a definition for effective if you want to continue with that language, or you need to have a radius. It's common to have 300 feet, 500 feet. In more rural counties, you might have 1,500 feet just because the parcels are so large, but with your parcels being smaller, 300 to 500 feet notice requirement. But I do agree that you do need some certainty there and not just, again, here we are, interpretation.
Wouldn't that just-
How is the city administrator supposed to know
And
who's affected?
Yeah.
Well, I think
So-
that would just be our policy, our notice requirements in terms of what we do.
Your in-house policy.
But it's
But
in
it
the
should be
LDC.
inside of section 7.04.01.
Yeah, but it does talk about it in the LDC, that's why.
It does talk about, yes, that there is a requirement for the city administrator to make notice that there's no radius. There's no,
Affected.
Should we write that in while we're?
So is this the time to do it? Is it right now with
well,
this?
it would need to go before your P&Z board because they're the recommending body to any changes to your land development code, but we certainly can work on that. This was a task order for us to look at the variance language.
Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, no, I read through it, I agree very wordy, but obviously there's a need, and it would have been covered on the last variance that we had a problem with. I'm good with it.
One more thought
Okay.
too. I know with the incidents on Canal Parkway, the family complained that they weren't notified, they were just a sign up in the property and it was word of mouth. So if we state 300 feet, then would we also consider sending the certified letter to those families since so
I think
many of
so.
them live out of town?
Yeah, that's why I think
There
this
was a
isn't
lot
good.
of unrest about that decision before.
It generally goes to the property owner, not a renter, but usually
Correct.
you'll go by the property appraiser's records of who owns the property, and that's who receives the letter.
Okay, so can we give them the task to fix ordinance?
To
Fix the
other
LDC
section.
7.01.
LDC? Yeah. Okay, so a second thing is, I think Tammy was supposed to read this motion for the first reading before we started discussing it. So we're gonna just back up just a little bit and let Tammy
Well,
read.
did you decide to change something?
Yeah, we
I
ready to
don't
read
think
it?
we've- I don't think we've changed anything in this ordinance. She's gonna update
The other one?
the other.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to read ordinance 811 by title only.
Second.
All right, Tammy?
Ordinance 811, an ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Code to modify section 7.04.00 and create section 7.04.02 to establish a process and standards of review for granting a variance, providing for codification, providing for repealer, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right, so the next on the agenda is the American Power lease. And I think that's Mr. Hubbard, sorry, and Mr. McHagill. Thank you.
Okay.
Been too long,
Age.
You're good.
All right.
Mayor and council, the city of Mexico Beach received a letter from American Tower requesting that they amend their contract. There's a whole lot of information in your packet, and I would say that the vast majority of it isn't important. The most important item to look at would be the chart that was passed out by Tammy before tonight's meeting that looks like this. I can't take credit for that. Mel did that before he left and before I showed up. So give him the credit for going through the process of making that. But it just breaks down to three options. Of course, one option is to leave it as it is. The current lease will expire in 2045. Then there's the perpetual lease where they'll pay the city a one-time payment of $362,000. And then there's another option where they'll give us $20,000 payment, lower the monthly payments, and then extend it out by an additional 30 years to where in that 30-year time frame, every 5 years, that it'll increase, a little bit more dramatically. And it's all laid out there on the chart. Now, what I will tell the council is that city staff has been in contact with American Tower. They've told us something different verbally compared to what's in their letter. Staff attempted to contact them today to get some clarification on that and was unable to get in touch with anyone. So all we have to go by is their letter, and their letter is represented in this chart.
Well, you think it'd be good to wait on the clarification and just continue with the way that it is? I mean, the lease that we have doesn't expire until 2045.
Correct.
So I don't think we're in any rush.
Yeah,
If you're waiting on something.
well, I agree with you. There's no rush from the city, and even if the change is correct, it's still going to be several years down the road before the city would start collecting the monthly income that it already collects today. And so it's not necessarily the best option anyway. My opinion is leaving the lease as it is and until it expires in 2045 would be the most financially beneficial to the city.
All right, so I got to open it up, unless you want to ask them something. Oh, you're going to ask them something?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just confused. Why do we do this every 3-4 years? If we have a lease for 30-40 years, why do we keep it? This is the third time I've seen this in
They're
30
trying to get you to
Yeah.
give up. They're hoping that you're desperate for money and it'll take the $362,000 and up lump sum payment.
Yeah.
And now you're in there forever.
Yeah,
So if we're gonna have this another 5 years, it'll happen again?
probably.
Sure. You can throw the letter in the garbage can. You have a lease.
Yeah,
I think it's just simply because they want to see if you're desperate for money. We'll give you $362,000 now,
yeah.
and you never get another dime.
And I actually have had like phone call from them like every week until I told her my city administrator's handling that. And you need to talk to him, so she quit calling me. So I'm like y'all, I see the benefit of just leaving on 45 weeks intact. So, all right, I'm gonna open it to the public for discussion. Come on, sir.
Been sitting too long.
Me too.
Bill Hamilton, 212 Howard 98.
Are these just cell phone towers for Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile? Who utilizes that tower?
American Tower owns the tower, and then they lease space on it to all the companies that you mentioned, all the cell phone providers.
But it's my opinion that within 5 to 10 years, land-based towers are gonna be obsolete. Everything going satellite, just like Loran C used to be the marine navigational standard, and it was quickly replaced by the GPS. And I would put the pencil to it and see how much money the city would get in 5 years, 7.5 years, or 10 years, and use that as a criteria and switch to go, because I think, like I said, I think the tower-based communication is gonna be obsolete pretty soon.
That's a good point.
That's excellent.
Anyone else? Very good point, Mr. Okay. Hamilton. He's Bill to me. Okay, so, close public discussion at the table.
I'd say leave it like it is.
Linda?
Well, you know,
Excuse me.
Mr. Hamilton did bring up a good point. I mean, if it would be obsolete, would we not do better to take that 362,000 and run with it? If it's gonna end and,
We really don't have any way to.
you know, I mean, if it's not a likelihood that it's gonna last to 2045, and we're just talking 5 to 7 years and it's gone anyway, would we benefit from grabbing the big money now? Just a thought.
We might, if you answer
So-
the question.
So they're leasing our land to set that on, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if we give them, if they gave us 360, they own our land that's in our back door, is that correct?
They would, yeah, they'd have a lease to it forever.
And we couldn't touch it.
Okay.
If you ever get a lease before it, that's one thing you don't want, is this lease that they got right here. You can't cut the grass under, they fence it in, leases is, they for this American Tower, they're not for Mexico Beach.
So they don't own the land if we went with option 2, right?
Well, they don't own the land, but they just have there's a lease to it. And if we
Right.
do with option 2, it'd be extended all the way out to 2070. Well, option 2 would be perpetual.
Option 3 is nothing.
So, let's see.
Option 3 is leave it, according to this, is leave it exactly the way it is.
Go ahead, you've been
Well,
calculating.
so the reason I keep laughing is I used Mr. Hamilton's argument in 2015 when this came up, when it was presented. And I don't remember what they told me, but I backed out, and there was a reason, and I don't remember what it was. But it's been 7 years now, and it's still in effect. So I argued it was gonna be gone in 5 years back then. I'm okay leaving it as it is. In 10 years, the current option 1 is 165, 871. Option 3, 10 years, is 241, 392. That was the math I just
Now,
read.
I did the same thing. I mean, if you pointed a good point, something we should have looked at. I didn't look at that originally. And, I mean, there's $160 there to make, basically, but you're giving away that land that's in back of Public Works. So we could be using that in the future. So I think the current option, to leave it the way it is the best one.
I think so too. All right, do we want to bring a motion to the table?
So I'll make a motion that we accept option number 3.
Second.
All right, Pam?
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Lally?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Okey-dokey, now we're gonna move on to, insurance increase. Mr. Hubbard.
Yes, let me get through it here. The first thing is that the city has underpaid on their insurance this year. And there's an amount, $7,803 which we need to pay our current insurance provider so that we can get through to the beginning of the new fiscal year. Now, we haven't received any definite numbers on what the increase is going to be for next year at this time, but they're estimating that the increase for next year could be between 50 and 60%. So you're looking at quite a bit of money. Now, the city has added, several additional buildings that hadn't, buildings and assets that haven't been covered by insurance in the past. That's probably proven after what occurred in 2018, but that's why you're seeing the large increase or potential increase there.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Chris, do you know, at what point were we notified that it would increase between 50 and 60%? And is it an option to look at another insurance company? I mean, we would all do that with our home immediately, like the next day.
Unfortunately, with the way the city operates, it would be hard to go out to advertise for a new insurance provider, accept the bids, hold the public hearings, and do everything by 10/1. One of the things that the city could look at doing is try to deal with Stanford Insurance and see if they would let us go maybe month to month, while we go through that process. But again, that's something that we would have to work out with them.
So we're currently asking for approval on $7,800 just to get us to October 1st.
Correct.
Then after that, what I understand, I looked at some notes on the budgets when we did the budgets, and I think we put in somewhere between 30 to 40% was told. We were told to do. So if it's 40 or 50 or 60, we could make it a little short.
And that's something we'd have to work out in the budget process.
Can you check that maybe tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
What the number is?
And one more thing, the current properties, is this adequate? I mean, this is correct? 100 million gallon water tank, do we have that?
Well,
Do we have that, Jim? I think I heard. You've been around long enough to have 100
There's
million gallons.
a big one back there.
Just out.
yeah, you see that you have two reports regarding the insurance and the current property, the one that's labeled current property in ink. That is what has been currently insured in the past before the account was updated. And then the other report, which looks more like this, is the new structures. That have been added to the policy.
So this appraisal was just done,
Yes.
and that's why it came in, because they just did a full appraisal of all of our assets as we replaced with new after Hurricane Michael.
Correct. There's not been an appraisal done since before the hurricane. And so like you said, with all the new construction going on, everything being replaced, they updated their numbers.
And I assume we didn't request the appraisal, they just came in.
To the best of my knowledge, we didn't request it. Like I said, my understanding of what occurred is that the city took the initiative to add the uninsured items to the policy. And then they came out and did the appraisal on their own.
All right, I'm gonna move it to the public discussion. Oh, that's all right. No, that's fine. We can discuss, ask him, and then we can go back to the table. Any discussion, public? We'll close it. Look, we've been working on this already. So, what y'all's take on this?
I don't think we have much of a choice currently.
We don't have a choice for this. I think we're very much, yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. We don't have a choice. We need to pay that 78 right away.
Correct.
I agree that should be done right away, but as far as what we put in the budget, we need to know what that is, and then we need to know what the deficit is off of that to make a decision on that.
I'll get those numbers tomorrow.
All right, a motion?
So is our motion to approve $7,803?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve $7,803 in supplemental payment to Stanford Insurance to bring our coverage current.
Okay.
A second.
All right, Tammy?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Welly?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. All right, so next on the agenda is financial update. Just going to give a brief update here. So, we received we're behind on our audit. Just one, I did talk to, James Moore, just to check and see where we were at. Told him that we were looking at getting a firm for our accounting process. And he did, when I told him that we were piggybacking off of some bids that had already went out through Bay, I think it's Bay County, he wanted me to look in that and make sure that that's something we can do with this pipe. So, we did, and I did receive an audit letter from JLAC, and it had to be addressed, our five areas of concern, and Mr. Mel had answered that. It was due by the 18th, and we got it in by the 18th. So, first, one thing is our management override and segregation of duties. We told them that we're going to implement internal controls for the process of accounting functions, and I think that will take place as soon as we can get in a firm, which we need to bring that forward and get that started as soon as possible, because the answer to them was that we would start this immediately. Now, for the past 3 years that I went back at the reports, and we got that letter because we have had repetitive things for 3 years. And immediate doesn't give us a time frame. I would like the staff to consider, making sure that we have a time frame on that and move forward with it, so that next year we're not saying, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do it immediately, and nothing gets done. And we had the same audit issues as we had before. Another audit issue was reconciliation of our bank statements and audit adjustments. Our answer was to provide appropriate accounting principles, again, immediately. Timely bank reconciliation, our answer was within 30 days after the end of the month. Again, immediately get on those. And then it goes into some other things that we don't have any real concerns, I don't think, is financial emergency, budget control. It does say that our adopting a budget, all of the funds under the authority and the control of the city. These were not things that we were just telling them what we're doing with these. Our utility deposits, building permit expenditures, and our impact fees, as well as our debit compliance. And like I said, Mr. Mel answered to these. I just wanted to bring it forward so the citizens would know where we're at with our audit. We have not started it yet, and the audit can be turned in as early as October 1st for the year, all the way through June 30th. So we're behind that long. So I looked at some other cities, and they already had theirs posted, and they've been done for a while. So we really need to try in the future to kind of get back caught up. And I think, again, hiring a firm is going to be essential in doing that as soon as possible, so we can get in here and get our finances updated and everything straightened out as far as our internal controls as well. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Those first three findings were here before, and they went away when we had the accounting firm, so I think that is the right move to help us get rid of them again.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that once before, so I think it's very evident what we need to do as a council to make sure that we get this. And I know Chris has just gotten here, and I don't know where we're at with that yet, as far as getting that firm.
We have to develop an RFQ, is that true?
If we piggyback off a contract, we don't have to do an RFQ. Right now, in regards to the audit not being, or I can't say not being, in regards to the audit not being completed at this time, I want to go through and see how much of this we can get done ourselves, because, you know, other than the day-to-day operations that the city council wants this accounting firm to take care of for us, they'll also be doing the end of the year balancing and everything else, and then giving that information to the auditing firm. So I need to let them know exactly what, you know, they have to look at in addition to the day-to-day operations.
But getting them in place before the year-end closeout will also eliminate the extensive audit adjustment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's, as the council, kind of think about what our time frame is to put this firm in. If we're piggybacking, have we looked at the firms? You know, I think we got some emails.
Yeah, and there's an old RFQ, I think I brought that up last meeting, that we had.
Are those companies that you guys had still in business, or? Do you have some you know of?
It was for Panama City as a contract. So
It was Roberson last time.
Are they on the RFQ? Do we have to redo an RFQ?
I think their contract was eliminated, so I think we'd have to RFQ again, but they were on Fort St. Joe, and that's who we used back then.
So going through, Chris, going through Panama City, the ones that we could piggyback off to, have you looked at those, any of those look?
I haven't had the opportunity to look at them.
So why don't we think about doing that and, you know, bringing that back and see if we can get this done pretty quickly.
Do we need direction on that, or
Yeah, I think we
do
need
we
to.
need a motion?
I think we just ask Chris to look at it and bring
Give us
some
an RFQ.
recommendations back.
All right.
If there's nothing on that RFQ that we want to piggyback off of that looks good, then we might want to go and put out an RFQ.
All right.
All right, so, now, Chris, you're up again?
Yeah. Obviously, I've only been here for 2 days, so we've been busy and trying to get, you know, everything up and going. Didn't have my computer and email set up until 2:30 this afternoon, so I've been restricted as far as what I could do electronically, but there's plenty of other things that need to be done, so I've been concentrating on those. One of the things in regards to the audit being behind and so late is that we have started on that, even though it's my second day here. I took the first step today in getting the reconciled trial balance to the auditing firm, so they have that in their hands. That's the first step of the process. There's 2 other things that we have to get them. One of the things that I've done today is there's a task list of 46 things that we have to do for this audit. I've made copies of that list, provided it to 3 members of the staff there at City Hall. The goal right now is for each of those members to highlight the areas that they can, you know, take care of. Anything that they can't take care of, then I will, you know, try to get those answers. And so doing this group effort of tag teaming this audit, we hope to get it done pretty quick. At least provide the auditing company with the information that they need in order to begin the audit. And of course, you know, as soon as we get completed with the 2022 audit, we'll be rolling straight into the 2023 audit, year-end closeouts, everything that Mr. Willie just mentioned. So that's the big thing, and really that's our #1 goal right now, is to try to get this accomplished, because as you mentioned, Mayor, you know, we've already started receiving letters from the state.
Yeah.
And we're a long ways from reaching the point, but the state could levy financial penalties against us if we don't get this done.
So Mr. Clark told me on the phone, said that usually once you get this letter, and it's kind of a standard letter, yeah, but he said you got like 12 to 18 months before they may come and start levying your gas tax or whatever you get from the state, and they'll say, well, you can't have it anymore. Because that was my question. What are they going to do to us? Just do this, or is it going to cost us as a city? And that would cost us in our revenues. So.
Yeah, and that's going to be our, like I said, our #1 priority as far as the City Hall is concerned. And we're going to get on that as a team, and we're going to get it taken care of. And the 12 to 18 month time frame won't be an issue. I can guarantee that.
Okay. Anything else? on your list? I know you've not been here.
Well, I don't know how much time I was allowed to speak, but the only thing I have to say is that, for anybody in the audience and anybody watching on television, based on the contract conversation tonight, my intent is to be here every day. I plan on being here, working at City Hall like, I was hired to do. And I don't want anybody to think because of the conversation tonight that I'm not gonna show up at work. I'll be here, I'll be working to the best of my ability for Mexico Beach. And I invite everybody to come by City Hall. If I don't know you, come by and talk to me. I'm really hoping that we can get past all the negativity. That's one of my goals in coming back, is I kind of want to be a uniter. It's not worked so far, but I've been here 2 days, so we got some time left. And I look forward to working with all 5 members of the City Council. And I say that sincerely, because just as I said, I gave 3 members of the staff at City Hall the list of tasks to be done. It's going to take a team to do it, and it's going to take a team sitting here at this table to do it. And if we're sitting here arguing about personalities and rumors and lies and things that have been said out there in the public, we're never going to move forward. Now, I'm going to move us forward. Whether y'all want to join us or not, then I'm just going to put that challenge out to the City Council. At my first City Council meeting, I challenge you guys to unite, and let's do what's best for the city. Because I want to work with all of you. And I think the citizens want to see us all work together. And I plan on being here until we get it done. No matter what's said at these meetings, no matter what attacks I undergo, you're not going to say anything to run me off. I've been here before. I've been through it.
No.
So, anyway.
I think you guys have had to, so. Wait, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
No, all right. Linda? Mr. Smith?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Do you have anything you'd like to do?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just thinking about getting it right. No, ma'am, I don't.
Do you have anything?
We haven't talked about the meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
It's not on this agenda. There's a meeting Thursday night to workshop Farmdale.
Workshop for Farmdale.
No discussion, listen to the
LLC.
citizen input. Is that the goal?
I think Farmdale's gonna be here.
They're gonna give a.
I can't think. And did you find out anything about the stuff that we discussed with Farmdale?
No, that was, Mel was gonna look up the numbers.
Let's see if we can get that together by Thursday, so we'll have.
So 6 o'clock Central Thursday right here. Come talk to us about Farmdale.
Farmdale. Thanks for mentioning that. Mr. Wolf, you have anything for us?
I'll make
Sir?
a motion to adjourn.
Okay, next upcoming meetings are September 7th. Of course, Thursday night is 24th. Here at 6, and then September 7th, and then September 12th will be the morning meeting. So September 7th, that's not right. Budget hearing, sorry. That is right. Budget hearing on the 7th, the 12th is the regular meeting, and
Motion to adjourn.
we also adjourn. Thank you.